Uh, whatever happens with the Rangers this year is probably going to be spectacular. So, as I've been looking over teams and hey, let's do a video on this one, let's do a video on this one. Today, let's do a video on the New York Rangers because there's a lot of question marks. I got my green marker out for a reason. So, Green is a player who's either in a brand new city or a young kid who hasn't proven himself yet. So, when you look down the left side, and again, I'm not projecting lines here. I stay away from that because lines are very often in a blender, as I've said, and so there you go. And this isn't an official season preview or anything because I don't think these guys are done. Rumors about Chris Kreider being on his way out, I could see that. But I would honestly think Vlad Nemesnikov is the one that they're calling around and saying, look, we'd like to get rid of him. Nemesnikov might be an interesting project for a team, and it would be a project because with his cap hit, he really hasn't produced. And I know people will say, well, he didn't really have the ice time last year. That's because he wasn't producing when he got it. So, and again, he wasn't playing well enough to earn that extra ice time. So there's always that two sides to the story of he should get more, but you don't just hand a player more. So Panarin, you get a little bit of you get the green asterisk because he has never played for the Rangers. So while we can look and say he had 87 points with Columbus last year, yeah, that's a career high. I don't know that he reaches that again with the Rangers. And I know people are going to say, well, he's going to be on, he's going to be playing with some pretty good players. Yeah, and he was in Columbus as well. It's easy to look at Columbus right now and say, oh, that team's just a disaster. But when you look at guys like Anderson and Atkinson and so forth up front, there's still some scoring to be had in Columbus, and it definitely benefited Panarin. So it's not just Panarin benefited them, it was mutually beneficial, and we don't know yet how things are going to work out with the Rangers. Now you got Kreider, Nemesnikov, Brendan Lemieux, and Hedl. And Hedl I'm going to put the asterisk next to because we don't know yet whether Hedl's going to be that offensive catalyst that was expected of him. And with so many young players on this roster, you're going to have busts and flameouts. It's going to happen. So the idea of trading out Kreider, you have to make sure that you're not downgrading the team right after picking up Panarin. I think trading Kreider, unless they're going to get somebody else who is experienced back, maybe to help out down the middle, I don't think you move Kreider. Down the middle, you've got Mika Zibanejad, who I've said before, and I'll say it again. I don't know that I would want him as a first-line center on a contending team. Second line, yes. He reminds me of, he's similar to, in some ways, Bo Horvat that way, that I don't think you necessarily build a team with him as the centerpiece down the middle, but he's very good as a number 2 option. Brett Howden, Ryan Strome, Elias Anderson. Anderson is another one as well that we're not exactly sure where he's going to end up. Is he going to end up being that big scoring player? The nice thing for Anderson and Hedl now is that the pressure's off. Because the new kid's in town on the right side, which is Kakko. And Kakko means we've already got 4 green stars in their forward group. That is a lot of wild cards. You could almost add Ryan Strome to that as well, because Strome didn't play that many with the Rangers after the trade for Spooner. A trade which looks like it's a home run for the New York Rangers right now. You have Vitaly Kravtsov, who's likely going to push for a job on the roster. And if he does, and if he ends up on one of those top 3 lines, pushes fast down to the 4th line, makes Vinny Lettieri an extra, you might argue that with Kakko, Buchnevich, and Kravtsov down the right side, maybe they look at moving out a Lettieri, a Fast. I don't know. Again, I still think there's more to be done here. Up front, because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, I'm including Panarin because we don't know how things are going to go for him with the Rangers. Right now, everything looks fantastic. Yeah, his cap hit's worth it. Everything's great. But until a guy puts on that brand new jersey and plays in a game and we start seeing that progression, we don't know. A lot of free agents that get signed that we look back 2-3 years later and we go, it was a disaster. When the guy signed the contract, sometimes people pick up that it's going to be a disaster, and sometimes people go, that's a great contract. What an amazing move. On the blue line, it's going to be interesting, because you got Jacob Trouba, so he's with a brand new team. We don't know how that's going to go for him, if it's going to be a smooth transition to the Rangers or if it's going to take some time for him to pick up the changes from Winnipeg, where he's played his whole career. Brady Shea, Mark Stahl. There's always rumors that Stahl might get moved, and oh, well, why don't they move Stahl? I don't think he's going anywhere. Anthony DeAngelo, who has played very, very well for the Rangers in comparison with his previous stops in the NHL. Adam Fox, who, was a rookie and was coveted but wouldn't sign with Calgary, coveted, wouldn't sign with Carolina. Now he signs with the Rangers. So what the Rangers have going for them right now is they are a team that young guys want to play for. Players want to sign to play with the Rangers. That marquee value, that playing in Manhattan, and just that idea that you're in one of the biggest cities in the whole world, and you're in one of the most publicly visible NHL franchises, and yet, unlike with Toronto and Montreal, the pressure isn't as high with the Rangers. Just stay away from Larry Brooks' columns and you should be fine. Kevin Shattenkirk, there's been a lot of rumors about Shattenkirk potentially being on the trade block. Brendan Smith, who I think they'd love to get out from his contract, he likely ends up getting buried in the AHL again, but I don't think he's going anywhere either. And Ryan Lindgren, who was a rookie they picked up in the trade for Rick Nash, a trade that at the time everybody panned it, and I said, I don't think it's a huge deal. Lindgren had a total of 12 assists in the American League last year. He's a defensive defenseman, may end up getting some games, but again, that's another green mark there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this depth chart. So there's a lot of uncertainty. And then in net, there's some uncertainty as well. So you got Henrik Lundqvist, who is the older goaltender, but still believes he's a starter in the NHL. You got Alexander Georgiev, who has proved over the last 2 years that he can be a very capable backup, and there's some starter potential with Georgiev as well. And then you've got Igor Shesterkin. So, yeah. They signed Shesterkin this offseason. Well, it was April, but it was offseason for the Rangers at that point already. So, if this kid comes in training camp and outplays both guys, when does somebody have an uncomfortable conversation with Lundqvist? Because the Rangers have depth in net, and they've got some kids. So we'll see whether or not they put him in the NHL lineup, or they say, you know what, you're going to play in the American League, we're going to stick with this tandem, and then Shesterkin lights things up in the American League. It might be an uncomfortable conversation to be had with the Rangers as soon as, I'd say, December or January. It kind of feels like what Luongo just went through in Florida could very well happen to Lundqvist with the Rangers, where it's, okay, you've been fantastic, you want to be with us through this rebuild, awesome, but we've got these two really good young goaltenders, and we feel like we've got a team that can compete and can win right now. And you don't add an Artemi Panarin so to miss the playoffs again. You add Panarin because you believe that you can rise back up and make the playoffs. So this spot right here is going to be key. And again, there's a green mark on the board because we just don't know. We don't know how this is going to go. Maybe Trouba doesn't play well. Maybe he has a hard time adjusting to the Rangers. Maybe Panarin is slow out of the gate. Maybe the Rangers end up going 3-5-2 rather than 6-4. Maybe we're looking at a team at the end of October people are panicking over. Or maybe they do go 7-3, and maybe we're talking a year from now about how brilliant all of these moves were. It is a roster that I don't think they're done with. Like I said, I think there's one too many forwards on the left side, and I think they need another center. Strome can play the wing. So if they bring in another center, they can move Strome to the wing. And they I think, definitely need that as well. Nemesnikov as well can play center, but better off on the wing. To me, Brendan Lemieux is the real wild card when it comes to what is he going to be. I see top 6 potential with Lemieux. I really do. I think this kid could score at the NHL level, but is he going to get the opportunity to do that with the Rangers? I thought he'd get a better opportunity with the Rangers than he did with Winnipeg, but they've added Panarin, they've got Kakko, Kravtsov's coming in, you've got Hedl and Anderson as well that are going to want to get some ice time. Lemieux may get pushed down. So we'll see what happens, but I do think there's still some room for things to change. between now and training camp. So if you're a Rangers fan, let me know. Who do you think goes? Are they working the phones trying to move out Shattenkirk or Nemesnikov? Is Kreider going to end up getting moved? And how's this blue line going to look in the fall? Because I think there's a lot of names on this board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and only 6 are going to be your top 6. Do you keep Smith around as your number 7 defenseman, or do you bury that contract in the minors? What do you think they're going to do? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And again, this is just kind of a fun look at the Rangers, where they're at, and where do you think things are going to change? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.